Hey, if you're one of the hundreds of millions of people still using a Windows 10 computer, you're going to want to listen up. A really big deadline is coming up fast. And today, we're going to break down exactly what it means for you and the choices you'll have to make. So let's just put this on a timeline, right? Windows 10 came out way back in 2015. It's been a total workhorse for almost a decade. But here's the date you need to circle on your calendar: October 14th, 2025. After that date, Microsoft is officially cutting the cord. No more support, and this is the big one, no more security updates. And we're not talking about some small issue that affects just a few old computers. Nope, a staggering 62% of all desktop PCs are still running Windows 10. That's hundreds of millions of computers all over the world that are about to hit this wall. So what does this end-of-life thing really mean? I know, the term sounds super dramatic, and honestly, it kind of is. Let's really get into what happens when that switch gets flipped. Okay, so the most important thing to get is that your computer won't just, brick itself on October 15th. It'll still turn on, but it's basically going to be frozen in time. No more evolution, no more bug fixes, and, most importantly, no more protection against all the new threats that pop up every single day. Now, you might be thinking, I'll just keep using it. What's the big deal? And yeah, that might seem like the easiest option, but just ignoring this deadline opens you up to some pretty serious dangers that are only going to get worse over time. Let's look at the big three risks here. First up, security. This is the main event. Hackers absolutely love unsupported software. Why? Because any new weakness they find will never get patched by Microsoft. Second, performance. Without any fixes, your system is just going to get buggier and slower. You'll see more crashes, more slowdowns. And third, compatibility. The rest of the tech world keeps moving, and pretty soon, new apps, new printers, new gadgets, they'll just stop working with your old OS. And this isn't just a theory. Look at this quote from PC Gamer about Windows XP. The lesson here is timeless. They figured an unprotected XP machine would become a zombie PC in about 10 minutes online. A zombie PC. That means it could get hijacked to attack other people or just sit there silently stealing your credit card info. It's literally the digital version of leaving your front door wide open with a sign that says, "Come on in." It's not a question of if something bad happens, it's when. Okay, so what's the most obvious fix? Upgrading to Windows 11, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Can your current computer even handle it? Microsoft got pretty strict with the hardware requirements for Windows 11. The RAM and storage needs are fine for most people. But the two big roadblocks are the processor. It generally has to be from around 2018 or newer, and this little security chip called a Trusted Platform Module, or TPM 2.0. A lot of older machines just don't have it. But hey, the good news is you don't have to guess. You don't have to go digging through your system's settings. Microsoft made a free tool called PC Health Check that does all the work for you. You just download it, run it, click a button, and it gives you a straight-up yes or no on whether you can upgrade. Super simple. Okay, but what happens if that little app comes back and gives you the bad news? Or maybe you just really like Windows 10 and you're not ready to switch. Well, you've still got a couple of options. So Microsoft is actually offering a paid lifeline. It's called Extended Security Updates, or ESU. For about $30, you can buy yourself one more year of those critical security patches. Now, you won't get any cool new features, but it's a pretty low-risk way to keep the hackers out while you figure out your long-term plan. Now, we got to talk about the unofficial path. See, some tech-savvy folks have figured out ways to get around those hardware checks by tinkering with a core part of the system called the Windows Registry. It can basically trick the computer into installing Windows 11 anyway, but this comes with a huge warning label. And I mean a huge warning label directly from Microsoft. They say flat out that it's not recommended. You could run into all sorts of weird compatibility problems, and even worse, your PC might stop getting updates altogether. Any damage? That's on you. It's a really high-risk, high-reward kind of move. Okay, so if upgrading your current PC is a no-go, and you don't want to risk that unofficial route, what's left? Well, you've got two other major paths you can take to stay safe and secure for the long haul. Path number one is the simplest, most straightforward one. Just buy a new PC. Honestly, for a lot of people, this is the best bet. Any computer you buy today is going to come with Windows 11 all set up, and it'll have all that modern security hardware, like the TPM chip, built right in. Problem solved. But what if you don't want to buy a new computer? The other major alternative is to just leave the whole Windows world behind and switch to Linux.
Linux is a free, open-source operating system, and it's famous for running beautifully on the exact kind of older hardware that can't handle Windows 11.
And if that sounds intimidating, it really doesn't have to be. These aren't the old-school command line operating systems you might be picturing. Versions of Linux, they call them distributions, like Linux Mint and Zorin OS, are built specifically for people coming from Windows. They have start menus, taskbars, they feel really familiar.
And how old of a machine are we talking? Get this, a system like Zorin OS can bring a computer back to life that's up to 15 years old. Think about that. It's an amazing way to keep perfectly good hardware from ending up in a landfill just because of a software deadline. So when you boil it all down, your PC is really at a crossroads. You can try to upgrade it, you can buy a new one, you can pay to get a little more time, or you can explore a totally new path with something like Linux. The most important thing is that you know what your options are so you can make a choice before time runs out. Look, that October 2025 deadline is going to be here before you know it. The clock is definitely ticking, and doing nothing is a real risk. So, looking at all these paths, what's your next step going to be? It's your PC, it's your choice.